teen attacked, racially attacked according to the narrative, according to the allegation. You have likely not heard this story. Put up the picture for Moeez. Moeez Irfan, a Livonia man, is accused of beating up a 13-year-old child and calling him racial slurs at a recreation center earlier this month. Keep that picture up. Not only have you likely not heard of this, but the police department made a move to make sure you did not hear about it. I'm going to get into the details. According to a preliminary investigation, Irfan allegedly physically bumped into a 13-year-old child in a stairway. After the bump, he hurled racial slurs at the child and then decided to strike the child on the head multiple times. Officers tried to take Irfan into custody, but he resisted, they said. After the police subdued him, he was taken to a hospital for a psychiatric evaluation and was admitted June 16th, 2023. He was released from the hospital, arrested and arraigned. Now, the Detroit News is not going to tell you some of the other details that came out immediately afterwards. You see, the police, when they arrived, they did not detain the adult male. They had witnesses that said this is what happened. He beat a child. They did not detain him. And the fact they did not detain him gave him enough opportunity during the course of the police investigation to run away. He only decided to flee when he realized that eventually he was going to get arrested. But he should have been at least detained upon the officer's arrival, and he was not. There's more. The minor was taken to a hospital to be treated for injuries he sustained in the attack. The teen was beaten so bad, he suffered a concussion and memory loss, was not able to finish the 7th grade because of the attack. Now, how do we even know about this? Because the police department, they have a Facebook page and a website that will basically post arrest of the week. So anybody gets arrested by the agency, they post you on their online apparatus. Well, this arrest was mysteriously not there. It had absolutely no place on their platform. Put up the picture. You're looking at Miss Delisha Upshaw, a concerned citizen, recently called out LPD for selectively posting arrest on their social media. According to Miss Upshaw, she routinely sees notices of alleged crimes perpetrated by blacks in the suburban area of Detroit City, posted on the department's Facebook, even some that are nonviolent, according to Metro Times. She submits that the police purposely withheld information about the arrest of a man who beat a 13-year-old child at a local recreation center on June 8th. She said on Facebook that after LPD was called and the child's mother arrived to the scene, the mom saw the attacker had not been handcuffed or restrained. Upshaw continued to say the attacker continued to use racial insults in front of the police, and only attempted to run after realizing he was about to be arrested. LPD did not include this arrest in their series of "Who We Arrested This Week" post, she wrote. The police posted his arrest on his Facebook platform on June 26th. Irfan, 29, was charged in the 16th District Court in Livonia with aggravated assault, ethnic intimidation, resisting a police officer, and being a habitual offender. Third offense. A judge set his bond at $50,000 and scheduled his next court appearance, a probable cause conference, for Tuesday. If convicted, he faces up to a year in prison for the assault charge, up to 2 years in prison for ethnic intimidation, and at least 2 years for resisting a police officer. What about child abuse? It's a 13-year-old kid, right? What about the aggravating circumstances around his racism, making it a bias crime or a hate crime? Habitual offender obviously applies here based on the record of the individual. But you have to think about the psychology of the officers who responded. According to everyone who's involved, no officer attempted to detain the adult male who has been accused by multiple individuals of abusing a minor. Literally, the minor has marks and visible bruises, injuries on his body, on his face. They do not detain the adult male. While talking, the officers are hearing the adult male use racial slurs against a child, and they still do not arrest the adult male. And because of their inaction, it almost led to this adult male escaping justice because he only started to run once he realized he was going to be arrested. None of this should have happened. Routinely, we have seen innocent black men in particular get handcuffed as soon as the cop arrives. And the officer will say, hey buddy, I'm doing this for my protection and for yours. You're not under arrest, you're only being detained. Why do cops say that? Because they legally can do that for their safety. They can, the Supreme Court has upheld that. They can temporarily detain for their safety. So what does that tell you? That tells you that when there's a raging, aggressive, violent male who has attacked a child and used racial slurs and currently using racial slurs, that individual, as long as they're not black, that individual is not a threat to law enforcement. They don't need to detain that person. But if you are a peaceful person of color, if you are a peaceful black male in particular, if the police are coming, you're gonna get those handcuffs.